All right, good morning, everybody. Great to see you. Thank you for the turnout. I really appreciate it. To get us started this morning, we're going to do the community spotlight. And this morning, we're going to ask Robin to come up and give us an update on the employee gift fund. Robin.
Actually, this is a sister act.
I missed that part.
Yeah. No. Yay.
Okay. We are among the most fortunate people around. And I think every now and then we need to stop and think about that. I mean, we're living in an era where modern medicine has enabled us to outlive our grandparents, even our parents. We live in an era when we can visit with our grandchildren on a video call, where when you were the parent of the grandchild, you had to run to the drugstore, get the pictures printed, put them in the mail, and hope your parents got them before the kids were in school, you know? That sort of thing. We've been so fortunate in so many ways. Obviously, one of the most fortunate things we have is that we're here, that we can afford to be here, that we found this place, and that we have been taken care of so well, all the time, but especially during this past year. We have been fed, we've been cleaned up after, we've had our things fixed. The grounds are gorgeous, we can go out walking, we can plant in the garden, we can do so many things that a lot of people can't even think about doing. It takes about 200 people to keep us going, to give us the kind of life that we've been living. They're washing our sheets, they're washing our dishes, they're washing our floors. They're serving our meals, they're cooking our meals. They're taking care of so much in the kitchen. It is an incredible group of people who are doing that. When we get sick, they're over in the health center, getting us back on our feet and back over here. I don't know how many of you got around to reading Margaret's wonderful article in the Oaks this week about what it takes to get a meal on the table from the kitchen, about the people who are involved with buying, ordering, buying, unpacking, sorting it, cooking it, serving it, checking it. It takes so many people just to put one meal on the table. We have been so fortunate. A couple of months ago, I was able to sit down and interview people from the kitchen, some of the housekeepers from Sylvan, some of the mechanics. It was amazing to listen to these people speak. They are from all over the world. They really are. Yet, they all are here. They're all taking care of us. Many of them think about us as part of their extended family. We are their grandparents. We are people that they feel fortunate to be able to take care of. One of them, Royce, who's no longer here, but he phrased it that he loved being among so much wisdom and experience. Stop and think about that. We do have an incredible amount of wisdom and experience among us. So we have so much to give. They have so much to give us back. Anyway, one of the things that we can do, obviously, to thank these people for all that they do, is to support the Employee Gift Fund. We're getting started now trying to raise a lot of money. It takes a lot of money to give them all a substantial gift at the end of the year. I mean, they rely on these gifts for medical expenses. And one of our housekeepers actually had to get a new kidney. It took her 7 years to go through all that. The medical bills really piled up. And every year when she got her gift fund check, it was able to cut into those expenses. Others use it for tuition. Others use it to buy a computer for school. They repair their cars. They buy Christmas presents for their grandchildren. They just do a myriad of things with this money. We're asking everybody to contribute $2.50 a day, which isn't much when you stop to think about if you were tipping people at meals, the kind of meals you're being served, you'd spend a lot more than that a day. If you were paying your housekeepers and tipping them, you'd be paying more. There's so many ways in which it's a bargain. We collect the money once a month. We'll report to the committee all the time. It's all very carefully taken care of. Your gifts are anonymous. And I know a lot of people say, oh, but I'd rather give them money directly so I know where it's going.
Well, here's a way to do it.
Yeah, well, let's get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But when you stop and think about it, what you're saying there is, I want them to know it was coming from me. Which is kind of a selfish way to look at it, but that's really what you're saying. And you're not tipping the dishwasher. And the dishwasher is working just as hard as the server. So think about that. And we have come up with a new way to help you direct your gift a little more carefully. Robin will tell you about that.
Hi. I thought you'd like to hear from someone other than myself on the subject of anything. Andrea Hagner is a very significant part of our Employee Gift Fund Committee, and we welcome your help. Andrea has taken charge of this particular program, which the Gift Fund got involved with in support of the Railroad Board's objective to recognize extraordinary performance via the Extraordinary Impressions program. And so, all of us have had the opportunity, and I hope you take the opportunity when an associate does something that really typifies excellent performance, that you write it up and put it on one of those cards and drop them in one of the various locations. We decided to recognize the best of the best as recognized by you. You want direct control over where your money goes? Well, this is a way to, not just your money, but your support. This is a way to do it. And this month, we are having the first quarterly presentation of the Residents' Choice Award, as demonstrated by your support on the cards. I'm going to give this back to Andrea.
Okay, we went through the cards for the first quarter, and it was clear that those people who filled out the cards really appreciated Samantha. So we are designating her. Samantha Sierra is our first Residents' Choice Award winner. So here is a certificate for her, and here comes some flowers for
We
you.
want to get some pictures.
You want to say something?
Great.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this award. I feel so honored to be able to work for such an amazing group of people. It's been almost a year since I started working here, and it's been amazing. I feel I've grown so much. I've learned a lot from all of you, and it's great to come here every morning, every afternoon, and serve you. It's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay?
All right, Evan, why don't you come on up here? So this morning I wanted to introduce Evan Poole. He's our new associate administrator. Evan's going to be with us for about a year. He is in the process, he recently graduated. He's in the process of working toward his administrator's license here in Florida, and he's in what we call our AIT, Administrator in Training Program. So welcome, and I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Brant. What Brant didn't tell you is an AIT is actually an intern. So if anyone needs coffee, let me know, okay? We can do that. So a little bit about myself. I'm from Terre Haute, Indiana. We like to call it Terrible Ho. Do we have a Terre Haute fan back there? Indiana, okay. Hoosier fan. I know we have a Miami University fan over here, Ohio State. Wolverines. Hoosier fans, let me know. We'll become best friends. Okay. So like Brant said, I'm going to be doing an AIT. I'll be here for roughly 12 months. I come from Indiana, so I'm super happy to be here working on my vacation time for about 12 months. And just like the presentation earlier, I'm excited to learn from everybody's experience. You guys are very wise, so that is why I chose the field I'm in today to serve our seniors. So thank you, and I appreciate everyone here making me feel at home.
A really short COVID report. It's just a few slides, and most of it's good information. So let's head over to the board. This is the 15th of June. Next slide. So here's a look at the overview just of what's going on in terms of here in Florida. You can see the case data from the prior week. You can see the vaccines. Here in Florida, we have over 10 million Floridians who have now had either a first or both the shots of the COVID vaccine. But here's, I think, what's also really, really important, the vaccination by age group. If you go down to the very bottom line, those are the individuals 65 years or older, and 82% of all the seniors in Florida, 65 or older, are now vaccinated. And that by far is the most significant change that we've seen in terms of preventing the spread of COVID, particularly in senior housing. Next slide. Here are just two graphs. The top one is the number of new cases over the past 10 weeks. You can see a steady and consistent decline. The new case positivity for the past 10 weeks, you can see that that's the bottom slide, and that also is declining for the state of Florida. Last week, our positivity rate was 3.4. Here in Pinellas County, the positivity rate was 2%. So Pinellas County continues to do a great job of managing this, and Regency Oaks, we can report just as we have for 22 previous weeks, there are no residents and no associates on campus that we suspect or are showing symptoms of COVID. So we continue to look really strong. Next slide. Here's the, I think this is just absolutely amazing. If you look at the weekly case count, that's the number in the blue. You can see that that continues. You can see it go up, and then you can see a gradual increase. We know that COVID is still out there. It is still the number of new cases. We've not seen a significant drop off in that. It's sort of stabilized, but we've not seen a downward trend. The light blue line is the information from the previous slide. Those individuals over the age of 65, and you can see back in early January, right after the December surge, we saw the drop off, and it's just continued to drop off to right out here at 6.4. It's just a very small segment of the population. And even though the diagnosis of flu is down in the state of Florida, in Pinellas County, there are fewer people designated with flu. It's really difficult to distinguish sometimes whether it's flu or COVID-like symptoms. Even given the fact that the flu diagnosis in the general population is down, you're more likely to get flu than you are to get COVID right now in the state of Florida. All good news. Next slide. Probably will have a hard time reading this. It's sort of small, but the mutant strains, they are here in Florida. They are expanding, just as we anticipated they would. They have doubled in the last 2 weeks. According to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control out of Atlanta, there are 8,500 variant strains of COVID. That's an awful lot of different strains. Not all of them are going to become prominent. Some will, and some will escalate to a higher level of concern. But Florida has more variants of COVID than any other state in the union, followed pretty distantly by California. The dominant strain that we are seeing here in Florida is what they call the UK variant, and that's primarily what physicians and health officials are worried about here in Florida, is the spread of the UK variant. Through mid-April, 62% of the cases reported were the UK variant. That's the next closest is the Brazilian at 5.4%. But here's the great news. Here's the nice thing that we can summarize off of this is most of our residents have had the Pfizer vaccine. And it just so happens that the Pfizer vaccine has proven to be the most effective means of combating the UK variant. So that's the really good news, is you got the right vaccine. Laundry list of things that I want to go through today. And the first is the resident satisfaction survey is going to occur on the 15th of August. And it will run for about 2 weeks. We'll close it at the end of August so that everyone has plenty of opportunity to participate. It's a little different than the surveys that you have seen in the past. This particular survey is 8 pages long and 94 questions. So it's going to be a little longer than what we're used to. And so I just want you to be aware of the fact that it is a longer survey. There is an opportunity to provide comments at the end of the survey, and we, over the course of the next couple of weeks, will talk to you about the survey process and how we plan to roll it out and do a little education on the survey. This is not an NPS survey. That's what we have used in the past with either Holleran or with J.D. Powers. And NPS is Net Promoter Score, and you'll remember the crazy scaling of an NPS. It sort of forces you to say yes or no, and there's no gray area. And so that's entirely different with this survey. It's not NPS based. So we are going to do some education during the month of July just to get residents up to speed on the survey and how it differs from what you've seen in the past. Safety awareness. I wanted to speak a moment about safety awareness on campus. You maybe saw a couple of weeks ago that we had some cars broken into over there behind the Skilled Nursing Center and Assisted Living. They were crimes of opportunity. We had staff members, 3 staff members who left their purses in the front seat of their vehicles, and they were grab and goes. And you know, you may or may not know that immediately behind us is a mobile home park, and we're separated by a small spit of greenery. And some in the middle of the night, they came along and saw a crime of opportunity. And so I just want to remind everyone that, you know, we generally live in a pretty safe neighborhood. There's not a ton of crime in this particular area of this zip code, but we also need to be smart about our personal safety. Do not leave your wallet or your purse in your car. Don't leave anything of value in your car. That's not the safest place where you can do that. Our practice on this is always to work with the police. We filed the appropriate reports with the Clearwater Police, but the reality is they're never going to catch them. It was they grab the purse. They're after the credit cards, the money. They'll spend the money. They'll use the credit cards for 1 or 2 days, and then they'll discard it. And it's more an annoyance because everyone has to replace their cards and their driver's license and their insurance data, and so. But let's just a reminder to be safe about what we keep in our vehicles.
And lock your vehicle.
And yes, that's helpful too. So, this is a funny story. I'll just digress. So when I came to Regency Oaks like 15 years ago, I was driving a Jeep and it was a soft top. And so one day it was parked out back, and same thing happened. My wallet was laying on the front seat. The doors were locked. And someone saw it and came along, and they took a razor knife and cut through the vinyl windows on the Jeep. It was a soft top. And I said, well, boy, that was stupid of me. Not only did I leave my wallet on the front seat, but I locked the doors. Next time I won't leave the wallet on the front seat, and I'll just leave the doors wide open, so at least you won't cut my top. So, all right, so there's a safety awareness update.
Brad, we heard that a bicycle was stolen from the campus. Is that true? It was not ours.
I have not heard
I
that.
heard that. And
Yeah,
the question, where and when?
Has anyone heard about a bicycle being stolen? That is news to me.
Okay, it's not from the bicycle rack over by where the vehicles are parked. There's one missing over there, but that was Bob Ferguson's.
Okay.
So we thought maybe that was the one that someone was passing the rumor that a bicycle was stolen.
I haven't seen a police report on it, and no one has reported it. So as far as I know, but great idea. If you are using the bike rack, lock it up. I know that's
And do not leave your pocketbook there.
and do not leave your pocketbook there.
Brent,
Yes.
I've heard comments that there have been some break-ins into apartments recently. Have you heard anything about this, and can you comment?
So first off, there have been no break-ins into apartments. Now, I would say probably 4 times a week, we have people who come to us and say something's been stolen out of my apartment. 99% of the time, they come back to me 3 days later and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I found it. I forgot that I hid it in a bottom drawer, or I hid it in my robe." And so you hear a lot of that conversation out there that things are missing. In the majority of the cases, they show up after a couple of days, and residents come and they're very embarrassed, but they say, "Gosh, I'm so sorry, I actually found it." We have had an incident within the last 60 days, one incident where something was missing from an apartment. It was a legitimate claim, and so our process in that is to file a police report, to cooperate with the police, to share any relevant data that we're asked for, and we have a zero tolerance policy. We prosecute to the fullest extent of the law if there is an arrest made. This has been at least 60 days in this one instance. It is still an ongoing police situation, so I won't share specifics, but we do stay in touch with the police, and at this point, there is not a suspect, and the investigation is ongoing. As those issues are resolved, I will share it back with residents. We are fully transparent, but we also want to stay out of the way of the police department as they conduct their investigation. Very rare that we see something like that happen. Regency Oaks has a pretty aggressive employment practice. Every single one of our associates has to be fingerprinted, has to be drug tested. We do a level 2 background screening, which means we run you not only against the database of the local department, but the state and the FBI federal crime database. So we're pretty confident that our associates can be trusted and are reliable, dependable associates who have been with us for many years and provide an excellent service to our residents, because we invest a lot of effort and time up front to make sure that the best of the best is who's working at Regency Oaks.
Thank you.
I would just encourage everybody to lock their doors, okay, when they're in their apartment, okay? Where we lived previously, people weren't doing that, and people were walking into apartments and stealing things. So if you're in the shower, so make sure your door is locked.
Yeah. And so what Chet's comment was is, we do live in a great community, but it's always a good idea to lock your door. And whether you're getting into the shower or whether you're going down to dinner, lock your door. That's good safety awareness, and don't create a crime of opportunity. Follow good safety protocol. While we're talking about this, let's talk about apartment insurance. This recently came up as well. Your contract requires that you provide content insurance, or what is called renter's insurance. Very affordable. It's less than $200 or $300 a year, and it covers all the personal contents of your apartment. And so if there is an issue in your apartment, my insurance will pay to have the wall repaired, the sink repaired, the toilet repaired, the air conditioner repaired, but it doesn't cover anything that you bring into the apartment. So if there is a power surge, let's say, and that power surge makes it upline and it blows up your brand new 60-inch TV, I don't have insurance for that. The damage that the power surge causes to my lines and my transformers and my power banks, I have insurance for that, but I don't carry insurance for your personal possessions. So when that TV gets blown up from a power surge, it's going to be on your insurance. Now that's important, but even what's more important is this is why you need to have content insurance. Let's say you are sound asleep through no fault of your own. All of a sudden the sprinkler head burst and you get a shower, and everybody 3 floors below gets a shower as well, because all your water that is coming out of that sprinkler head is just trickling its way down and it's taking out the apartments below you. Conceivably, if you're on the 4th floor and it takes out your apartment, the apartment on either side, on all the floors going down, you could take out the contents of 12, 14 apartments. Every single one of those individuals would have a claim against you. It doesn't go against Regency Oaks. We don't carry content insurance. And so if your 12 neighbors lose their furniture and their TVs and their important paper, the claim is going to go against you individually, not Regency Oaks. So that's why in our contract we specify that you are required to carry content insurance, because Regency Oaks doesn't. And so you are responsible not only for your personal possessions, but for any damage that might result through an action of yours or of others. And so I just, once a year, I think that's always a good idea to remind people of that and go back and review it. All right.
One question.
Yes.
That sprinklers in our content, doesn't that belong to Regency Oaks? Right.
Absolutely not. And so the sprinkler, let's do another one. Let's say that you have a pipe burst behind your wall. No fault of yours, it's my pipe. It burst and does thousands of dollars worth of damage to your apartment, to your contents, and to the people below you. Regency Oaks is only responsible for the repair of the pipe, all of the drywall, all of the finishes, but we have no content insurance. And so that's the important piece for you to know, is we don't cover any of the personal possessions, whether they're yours or a neighbor's. And so we just need to be really, really clear on that, because every single one of you is exposed if you don't have content insurance. And that's the other thing about content insurance, because you're not covering the structure, it's very affordable. You literally can get it for a couple of $100 a year.
Remind them of the liability if someone gets hurt.
Yeah, that's true too. Thank you, Jude. That's an excellent point. The third thing that covers that you can get with renter's insurance is, let's say you have a individual, a caretaker who comes to your apartment. They don't work for one of the big agencies. You hired them off the street. They probably have 3 or 4 other folks that they take care of here at Regency Oaks. They come into your apartment. They probably, because they haven't been vetted, they probably don't have insurance. They probably don't have workers' compensation. They probably don't have medical insurance. So they're in your apartment. You have them cleaning a fan. And they get up on a ladder, they fall from the ladder, they break their neck, they're going to require millions of dollars worth of surgery and recuperation. You're on the hook for every bit of that. Their medical expenses, what they sue you for pain and suffering, you're responsible for every single dime of that. And you want to make sure, if you want to protect your assets, that you have insurance for that. And that's what renter's insurance does as well. So renter's or content insurance covers your personal possession, medical claims, and damage claims for a result of water and gas and fire coming from your apartment that impacts others. And so if you don't know how to get it, if you don't have it, don't know how to get it, contact Lauren Rose. We have a couple of folks that we refer people to. They write the majority of the policies for residents here at Regency Oaks, and Lauren can give you all the specific details. Good news to report on some of our hiring issues. So 1st of June, the governor did lift the first of the 2 restrictions, and the first restriction is people who were working the system and they were able to apply for a job by not really applying for a job. All they had to do was check in, and the employer or potential employer didn't have to confirm that they applied or that we offered them a position. So the governor tightened up those requirements. We've seen an immediate improvement in the hiring situation. Over the last 3 weeks, we had 4 people in Foundations. That's our onboarding orientation program. So we had 4 that first week, we had 5 last week, and we have 6 this week. So that's almost 15 new associates that we have onboarded over the course of the last 3 weeks. And we know that on the 26th of June, when the governor eliminates the stimulus check for associates or for unemployed, that's going to be another significant impact that will help with our hiring. And then 2 things that we're really excited about: our nursing team, all the RNs and LPNs. We're 100% staffed in nursing. That's a really critical department because they are the clinical directors. And then the second thing is our maintenance team. We've hired 2 maintenance people. We have a third that is an offer has been extended, and we're waiting to clear backgrounds. If he clears, we will have added 3 new maintenance workers, and so that's really exciting as well. Father's Day, Ricky asked me to mention there is a Father's Day buffet. He looks like he has done a really good job. There's a shrimp cocktail, beer cheese soup, prime rib, pit ham, a whole bunch of sides. He also is going to have breakfast items featured in that. And then there's a wine and beer table as well. So it sounds like a pretty special way to recognize our fathers. The guest charge is $25, so if you are bringing a guest, that is the fee. It's $25.
But is it a buffet or is it service?
It's buffet.
Served.
Served, hold on. Served,
They're
served.
gonna have a carving station, it's a buffet.
All right, it is a buffet?
Yes. Yes,
Yes. Okay, it's a buffet.
yes.
All right, 7 out of 10 people say it's a buffet. So we're going to go with the buffet and see if that holds. This Friday in P507, there is an estate sale. This is sponsored by Innovative Home Services, so Christine will be up there on her estate sale. There are a lot of great items, clothing, purses, crystals, paintings, trinkets, kitchen items. So that is this Friday, 9 a.m. to 12:30 in P507. So Christine hopes to see you there. And Tiffany, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone? Perfect. I just wanted to go over a few things and activities as usual. Today we do have the police officer here who will be going over how to prevent internet scams. So please join us in the town hall. That's going to be great information. We're happy to have him. As well as, if you haven't noticed, in each lobby, the north and south, we are collecting for the Humane Society of Pinellas County. We have all of the details in the lobby to let you know what can be donated and what's going to be dropped off. Here, I have it right here. We can take bedding, bleach and liquid laundry detergent, brooms, mops, office supplies, towels, trash bags, things of that nature. Of course, always pet food as well. So this list is in each lobby, and we would love for each person, if you have the time, if you're at Publix or Walmart or use your Amazon Prime or something along those lines, to be able to donate to the Humane Society. Also, this 4th of July, we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to do a parade. It's not going to be very long because we know that it's the summer months, but we just want to be very celebratory and get excited for the 4th of July weekend. What we're going to do is we're going to start in front of the North Building. We're going to ask that if you wear all your patriotic shirts or hats or flags or anything along those lines, we will start in the North Building and take a very short walk to the South Building. It won't be all the way around, so just to the South Building. And then we will go through the South Building, Grand Lobby South, and land in the Town Hall for ice cream social. So, yeah, I know that you would like that part, so I saved it for the end. So you'll be able to come to the Town Hall, cool off, have some ice cream, and kick off the 4th of July weekend. So until the 4th of July, I will continue to remind you. I know it's something a little bit different, so we like to let all of our residents know ahead of time. But we're very excited about it, just something a little bit different to kick off the holiday weekend. If you have any...
What day is it on?
That's a great point. It's going to be Thursday, July 1st. And what we'll do is we'll start at 12:30 at the North Building. It'll take us about 10 minutes to get to the South Building, and then we'll land in the Town Hall about 12:45 for ice cream. So if you want to skip the parade, you can, and meet us in the Town Hall at 12:45 for ice cream if anyone doesn't want to do the parade. But we'll be more than happy if you can decorate your walkers or get excited with us while we take that quick little walk around the boulevard and land in the South Building and then head over for ice cream. Great. Thank you.
All right, and then one last thing is, and I may need some help with this initially because I have not necessarily seen this, but there was a memo that went out recently, I don't know if it was this morning or last night, that had to do with some issues in the tavern and dining services. I believe the memo was from our dining services committee. Anyone know what I'm talking about?
The Walker policy.
Yeah, okay. So you don't happen to have a copy?
Margaret asked me, she had to leave, but she asked me to make sure.
Okay. So here we are issuing a retraction. We got out ahead of ourselves And so we actually instructed you to do something that is not legal. And so the ADA, and it says that you cannot bar access to a space based upon a handicap. And what this memo said is in the tavern, we were not going to allow walkers, wheelchairs, mobility devices into the garden room. The garden room is very narrow. It creates tripping hazards, but that's not the approach that is appropriate to use. And so we're retracting that. We will get you a revision or an update. What we will instead do is do like what they do at McDonald's or Burger King or any of the fast food restaurants where you walk into the dining room and they always have one or two tables with the blue handicap sticker on it, so that you can reserve a specific table for handicapped residents who require the use of a mobility device. So we will go back and make that change and get it back out there. I apologize that that got out a little too soon, but we'll get it corrected. And don't call and yell at Margaret anymore. Bless you. But we will get that corrected and amended for you.
Is the balance of the policy accurate? In other words, as it has to do dining rooms?
So, I apologize that I have not read this. Is the balance of that accurate?
We need to meet.
Okay. So, you know what? Here's what we'll do. I will have the opportunity to review what was passed out and just completely ignore the first version. We will amend and make the changes that we need to do and get a corrected version out there. Again, I apologize that our communication got out in front of ourselves, but we'll get this corrected and issue a new memorandum.
Will we be getting flu shots here?
So, great question. We will be getting the flu shots here at Regency Oaks. It will be early fall. And so the COVID shots will come November, December. We're looking at the flu shots in September and October. So you have multiple choices on the flu shots. We will do a number of flu vaccine clinics here. You also can go to your physician's office. You also can go to your local pharmacy. If you do not utilize our services, which we highly encourage you to do because they're so convenient, we do ask that if you get a flu shot to please call and notify the front desk. We always track the number of people who have gotten the flu shot to make sure that we establish herd immunity. And so our goal is 85% of our residents we would like to see with a flu shot. So 3 options. You can get it here, you can get it with your physician, you can get it with your pharmacy, but please let us know that you got it.
What is the status of the swimming pool?
Oh, great question. So the swimming pool has a thermostat that has failed. And they evidently don't make this particular thermostat anymore. It's everything's old at Regency Oaks. So there's only one guy who can work on it. He's coming from Canada. And the estimated cost to replace this thermostat and the motherboards that have to be changed over is in excess of $8,000. But it's the part is not available anymore, and so we're just going to have to modernize it and update that thermostat. So we spoke with them yesterday, and we hope to have a date to share with you on when it's going to be completed by the end of the week.
Why can't we just leave the doors open?
So here's the problem. We can leave the doors open, but it's very, very hot outside. That pool is very, very hot because the heater is on. We're really worried about resident health and safety. of people who are trying to swim in a 100-degree pool. And
The water is not hot, it's the air in the pool house is hot.
let me talk to the clinical team. I always tell people the first objective is not to kill anyone. Right? So let me talk to my clinical team and see if they think there's any way we can do this safely and not put someone at risk.
Why don't we get a professional to come in and look at it and tell us what we need and put a new one in? Instead of remodeling it.
Well, the air conditioner unit is relatively new. It's 3 years old or 4 years old.
They
So,
didn't tell you that it was okay.
well, yes, but what we should have done, hindsight
That's what I'm
being.
saying. What you should have done then,
Yeah.
let's do it now.
Well, that's what we're doing. So we're replacing the thermostat to go along with the new equipment. We absolutely should have replaced the thermostat 4 years ago. Yeah.
The health forms that showed up in our boxes, who are they from, what are they for, and do we really need to do it?
So, yes, yes, and yes. So this is the health form that she's referring to. It's a little bit more extensive than what we've used in the past. And the reason for that is we have taken 3 forms. We've taken the form you fill out when you move into Regency Oaks. We've taken the form that we call the contact sheet, so that when EMS shows up and they're taking you out, EMS really finds it helpful to have a contact sheet. And then the third thing we're gathering is a list of medical devices and individuals who might need additional assistance in the event of an evacuation or an emergency. And so all this data is pretty vital. All this data needs to be updated at least annually, and more often if you have a change in medical condition. This first section right here, I've heard a lot of people say, well, why do you need all this medical history? And it literally asks what you're suffering from, what diagnoses you have. And so here, remember, this is what might happen. If we have to evacuate Regency Oaks, we may end up in a hotel in Georgia. That's where the tour buses may take us, depending upon the path of the storm and what we can find that can accommodate 400 people. And so we're going to end up hundreds of miles from your home. You're not going to have access to your physician or your medical records. If you have a condition that comes up, you're going to be very thankful that as we walked out the door, we grabbed this information, because it has your medical conditions, your diagnoses, it has an update of your current medication, and so all of this information is vital if and when we ever have to evacuate due to an emergency. The same thing with the back. This is a list of all the special needs and durable medical equipment that you might be using. This is really critical in helping us to plan for that evacuation. We don't want to walk out the door if you are on oxygen and not have oxygen for you for the trip. Same way, if you're dependent on a mobility device, how are you going to get around if we don't plan to be able to put you? You cannot get on the bus, and so we're going to have to provide other accommodations. If I provide other accommodations because 10 people say they need assistance with a mobility device, and I have 70 who show up, what am I going to do with the 60 who didn't sign up? So I know this is annoying. I know it's time consuming, but this is really critical. Once a year, I ask that you update this so that it allows us to be effective planners to keep you safe and provide contact information in an emergency, whether it's to our EMS workers or out-of-state physicians who may be caring for us.
Where are they being stored and who has access to them?
These are stored at the front desk, and they are password protected.
I'm concerned about the security of it, because we have numerous people at different times at that desk. And are all of those people going to be able to access that stuff? That's really concerning to me. I don't want all my stuff out there.
So the answer is yes, they're password protected. So if you're not a staff member, you don't have access to it. If you're a maintenance worker or a housekeeper, you don't have access to it. But if you are a receptionist or a security guard who works at the front desk, you absolutely have access to it. Emergencies don't tend to happen Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 and 5. They tend to happen on evenings, nights, and weekends. And so not having access to the key staff would not make sense. And here's what you have to weigh. So is there a potential HIPAA breach here? Absolutely. But you just have to weigh, and I'm not going to hound on you about this. You just have to weigh how much weight do I give my personal safety as opposed to how much weight I give my the risk of a HIPAA violation or exposure. And you have to make that decision. But like I say, the worst case scenario is if I order an evacuation bus for 10 people who have mobility devices and 70 show up, we're in trouble.
I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the medical history going back till I was 10 years old.
So same way, it's entire. I'm not going to harangue you on this, but I am going to say, it's your choice. Give it or don't give it. It doesn't matter to us. But if you pass out in your apartment and you're unconscious, EMS comes, they drag you out to the hospital. Who's going to give your social history and your medical history to EMS?
And your current medications?
And your current medications? Who's going to do that?
Are they actually going to get it? Are they going to stop by the desk?
Oh, yeah.
How often they don't?
Oh, they always do. They always do. That's EMS. Every time they're in the building, that's the first thing they do is ask, where's my contact sheet? So again, you're all adults and you can make your own decisions, but you need to think through that in the event, okay, if there are two of you and you have a spouse, okay, the spouse is going to give that information. But if you're alone, and you have no contact information, they don't even know how to get a hold of your adult daughter. They don't know anything. And so, just be smart about this.
When we moved in, we were asked to put that medical information on a form and place it in our refrigerator. Is that not being done now? Should we not? Or does this take the place of that?
That was called the Vial of Life, and that is used less frequently today than what it was in the past. And it's because it was not frequently updated, it was never in the right location, and I'm not specifically addressing Regency Oaks, I'm talking about Pinellas County. And so you can still use the Vial of Life, but that's not what the fire department is looking for when they come to Regency Oaks. They are now looking for contact sheets because their experience was throughout Pinellas County that the Vial of Life was used with such irregularity that it wasn't dependable, and they went back and asked communities to rethink the process and try to come up with something that was more consistent. All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you turning out, and go and have a great week.